Hi everyone, thanks for coming back to my channel. So today we're making authentic simple injera. Right here I'm just putting regular flour, a flour. I know a lot of people use different things, but I keep it simple. I like things very simple, especially when it's something that I'm eating as well as my family. So I'm putting about 6 cups of flour. For that 6 cups of flour, I'm gonna put about 6 to 7 cups of water, and then about half a cup of starter, Teff starter. Once I do that, as you can tell right here, I had underestimated the amount of flour I needed, so I went back and got more. So here I am adding more. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, put the starter. This is the starter that's behind. Unfortunately, you can't see it, but simple. It's just honestly fermented a flour with water and just air, cultured. And I go ahead and add that, and I add water. I blend it really well until there is no lumps or bumps in there, and I make sure I clean the sides. You want to make sure you submerge the batter in water completely and then clean all of the edge. Why you do that is to prevent any molding from taking place, obviously, because we are doing a process of fermentation. Fermentation is basically introducing bacteria into something, so we want to make sure that we don't have anything that's gonna go on the side and do its own thing. So by submerging it in the water, we're creating also fermented water, which we will use to thin out the batter later. If not, then you can just simply throw it away if you like, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm gonna put a good amount of water. As you can see, it's like half the batter and half water, and I'm just cleaning the edges to prevent, like I said, anything that may create any growth that I don't want on my injera. This is traditional in the Ethiopian culture. They will actually smoke out any bacteria. I don't do that. I just wash my container with really hot water, and I use vinegar and then wash it with clean water again, and then I use that. Right here I'm gonna seal it completely tight and then just push it to the side for about 2 whole days. So if I make it on Monday, stays Monday night, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday evening I'll make something for batter. So this is after 1 day. If it's already fermented, as you can tell, there's bubbles. And on that 3rd day, I'm gonna go ahead strain out the excess water that is on top, because I don't need that. And yeah, I'm gonna use the batter. I'm gonna use the batter to thin out any thickening batter if I feel that it is not spreading out easily, because if it doesn't, then honestly it's not gonna be good. Because at least for me, everybody has their own way, but for me, I like thin injera. I don't like thick injera. I don't want it to look like bread or pita bread. I want it to look thin and very crepe like, but you want to make sure the batter is not crepe like. It's in between crepe and pancake, not too thin and not too thick. I would even say I would go as far as between a waffle batter and a crepe. Is that possible to say? Well, I guess in this case, but honestly, you want it thick enough but not too thick, because if it's too thin, then it's gonna be really hard to take off the griddle. So right here you see me placing a little amount into a pot, and I'm gonna go ahead and stir it aggressively. We're trying to create a cooked batter, which creates a softer injera. You can make it without it, but I wouldn't recommend it, just because the injera is a lot more softer when you use the opseat. It's called opseat. Opseat is basically taking the fermented teff, adding water, and then placing it on high heat and letting it come to a thick batter. But you don't want to place back that hot batter inside the fermented teff flour. Rather, you want to let it sit at room temperature for an hour or so. I would even go as far as placing it in another container, so that it's in a cool container, and may make it a lot more quicker and getting that. So as you can see, as I'm stirring it, it starts getting thick. Stir aggressively, because right now it's going to start getting super thick quickly. And so once it does that, that's it. You take it off, turn off your stove, you let it sit. and that's how you want it to look. You can also place it in the fridge if you choose to, and then once it comes to room temperature, we're gonna go ahead and place it back into that batter that has been on the side, and then we mix it. We mix it well. We make sure that there's no lumps and bumps, because if there is, then that's gonna create lumps and bumps in our injera, and it is not the most, at least for me, appetizing. And hey, you know, you may like it like that, but authentic Ethiopian injera is definitely not like that. It's very smooth, sour, and whole. It has a lot of holes. And then I just take a immersion blender and I do that, and I clean. And I make sure that everything is good and it is mixed well. If I find that the batter is too thick, I go ahead and add whatever water I have, not all of it, but I definitely do it in segments to make sure that I don't oversaturate the batter. If I do, then if it's too thin, it's not going to turn out to my liking. It's going to be hard to take out the griddle, and then it's not going to look good, because injera, honestly, it is complicated but very easy once you get a hang of it. But what I find incredible about injera is that it's been passed on for thousands of years. It's been around for thousands of years, and the fact that I get to make it in America as a woman who grew up in America, it's an Ethiopian American, it's kind of amazing. And it's just amazing that I get to do that and I get to connect to my culture. And so right here I'm just placing back whatever fell down from that water I had placed in that container. I place it back in there because nothing goes to waste. Nothing, you know what I'm saying? We're putting back all that good stuff back in there, and we're gonna mix it, and then we're gonna take this batter and we're gonna let it set for an hour and a half, because we just want to make sure it marinates and it's ready all together, because we've now introduced something new to that fermented environment. So we're wanting it to be cool with each other, you know what I'm saying? Make friends so that we can get really good, yummy, authentic injera that we can later eat with our Ethiopian stew, or what, as many of us, or signi, as many of us also call it. So right here, you just see me put the batter, put it on the griddle. I don't do it like most Ethiopian Eritreans, unfortunately. I'm not yet there, but I just pick it up and I roll it around, as you can tell. And then I added more because I unfortunately didn't get the circle that I wanted. So I go ahead and quickly do that, and the holes are already starting, as you can tell. And then I put the top on that griddle and I let it steam up and get ready. I take off that griddle off of it and I let the sides come up. Once those sides are up, I take my authentic Ethiopian pick-upper, my Ethiopian spatula, and I let it cool down. And then I'll just do that over and over again, while I also make sure that I'm cleaning off the griddle well, because we want to try to prevent anything from sticking. And this is called mamwashet in Ethiopian language. I don't know what it is in Tigrinya, however, this is what we call it. And then I let it sit for a couple of seconds, and then I put the batter again, and I do the same thing over and over again. And you want to just produce these holes. Without these holes, it is not authentic injera. It would be called a sour crepe. So once these holes are produced, I go ahead and put the top. And once the top is there, we let it sit for a couple hours. I'm sorry, not hours, minute, not even a minute, like for a second. But thanks for watching. I hope you like it. Please subscribe. Bye.